Evaluation is a crucial part of instructional design. Evaluation is a process that allows for data to be gathered to help determine the level of success of someone in their education. Brown and Green 2020, Chapter 10, page 195. Teachers or instructional designers can use two forms of evaluation to assess a student's learning during a lesson and after the lesson is over. One evaluation strategy is called a formative assessment. Formative assessments are tools students use to help shape their learning through writing quizzes, notes, conversations, and more. Students use these tools to help reach a specific goal and take ownership of their skills and abilities while learning. Yale Center for Teaching and Learning, no date. Some great examples of formative assessments teachers can use to help students elicit their performance are open-ended questions, in-class discussions, small group work, taking notes, and multiple choice quizzes. Summative assessments evaluate students' learning, knowledge, proficiency, or success at the end of the lesson by providing a form of assessment to test their understanding of what they have learned throughout the semester. Yale Center for Teaching and Learning, no date. Examples of summative assessments teachers use in e-learning for students in kindergarten through 12th grade are assigning final projects, final papers, essays, final presentations, and final exams that focus on the topics the students have learned throughout the semester. When I think of making revisions, I use the ADDIE model, which stands for Analyze, Design, Develop, Implement, and Evaluate. When subject matter experts use the ADDIE model, learners are engaged in solving real-world problems. New knowledge is demonstrated to the learner, and new knowledge is integrated into the learner's world. Brown and Green 2020. Beginners can also incorporate Gagne's 9 events of instruction into their design process, especially teachers, to help guide them in the right direction. Gagne's 9 events of instruction helps teachers create goals and objectives, followed by presenting the content. Teachers can provide learning guidance. Students can access their performance by taking different types of assessments. After the assessment results, it's time for students to practice their skills by eliciting their performance before enhancing retention and transferring to the job. I believe revision is crucial to projects because subject matter experts could always use a second set of eyes and a second opinion on how to revise and edit their projects to make them more successful and easier to read for their target audience. Also, make sure the font color is big enough for visual learners who can't read the small print. When conducting a needs assessment, the assessment will be conducted into 4 phases. The leader of the group must start by planning a meeting with his associates to discuss what data needs to be collected about the audience and what of audience will be included in the project the instructional designer will be creating. The manager must also figure out how will the data be collected. They can decide to host interviews, small group meetings, or observation to collect more data on the project. Then we move on to phase 2, data collection. The subject matter experts can collect data from a limited number of members from the audience. The reason being is due to the financial cost of the data included in the project. The subject matter expert then moves on to phase 3, data analysis, where they start analyzing and prioritizing the data into different categories, from the most important to the least important. One from being the cost to the value of the company to the number of people impacted in the project. The final phase is to create a final report for the project. The subject matter experts must create a final summary which states the conclusion of all the data and analysis they have to create and collect during this needs assessment before they start creating the project. Assessments are used to obtain data about a learner or product. Brown and Green 2020. In this case, if I were a teacher and I were to give an assessment to my students, I am trying to gather data from my students on how much they have learned throughout the year, what areas of education they are struggling on, and what areas of education they are excelling in the class. Some types of assessments can be big or small and be given to students to test their higher order thinking skills to ensure they have been paying attention to the learner topic in class. Examples of assessments teachers present in class are multiple choice questions, true or false quizzes, short answer questions, and matching item quizzes. Some teachers may also ask students in middle school or high school to write a paper about the topic, including research to ensure there is some factual information. Every assessment should include a goal and objective. The objectives should also have strong verbs from Bloom's taxonomy pyramid to test the student's knowledge in higher order thinking. I like to use Gagne's 9 Events of Instruction as a guide to help create a lesson plan for my students in class. It starts with a goal and objective and then creates an assessment for the students to follow up with what they have learned in class.